Hello, and welcome to the Sovereign Collective podcast, where we bring you real, raw truth for your self-empowerment. I'm your host, Sasha Calavoda, and I believe that you can stand on your own 2 feet, but that you don't have to do it alone. I love learning from people who continually strive to raise the bar, to go against mainstream thinking, and who dare to question the general consensus. People who risk being ridiculed or even risk the loss of their professional status as they bravely question the common narratives and challenge the rest of us to expand our minds and to reconsider what we think we already know. Join me in learning how to take control of your health and your mind so that you can have the energy to think more clearly and the confidence to step up and take responsibility for all aspects of your life. We promise to never censor here because I believe you are strong enough to hear the real, raw truth to make up your own mind. If you like what you find here at the Sovereign Collective podcast, then please share with your friends and family. I so appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And now, on to the show. Hello and welcome to episode 101 of the Sovereign Collective podcast. This is Sasha, and today I am interviewing Tina Coulter, equine therapist of over 20 years. And we are talking about those phototherapy patches again. I'm not going to flood the podcast with interviews on LifeWave phototherapy patches, but there are some that I need to knock out so that I can really share the important information that comes along with them. Because let's face it, modern life is getting in the way of optimal health and wellness in body and mind. And today we're talking about animals. And why it's so important to share this information, in my opinion, is because you cannot placebo an animal. You can't tell a horse that this patch might work and this patch might work, and you're going to decide which one is going to work because of what you think is going to happen. You can't placebo an animal. They're going to work because they work, because they give a signal to the skin and then the body responds. And so Tina Coulter has incorporated these patches into her practice as an equine and canine therapist for over 5 years now, because they literally saved her horse's life, and her horse is here today because of one of those patches. So please tune in, listen in to the end. If you want to get any more information, then reach out to me. My link to sign up is in the show notes. It's lifewave.com/SASCHAK if you are interested in pursuing that. I also have a link to a recent Zoom info session that I did with a few people, and I have a friend who talks about all sorts of amazing testimonials, but she forgot about the chronic pain that was in her neck that is no longer there. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Share it around with your friends and family, and enjoy the show. Hi everyone, Sasha here for another interview for the Sovereign Collective podcast, and today I am talking about the phototherapy patches again. If you don't know anything about them, please refer to episode 97 with Darlene Greene to get more of the history, more of the fundamental basics about how they work. Today we're going to get into another aspect of the patches, which I feel is super, super important, because we're going to be talking animals. We're going to be talking about the effect of horses using the patches and on dogs and people as well. But the important part of looking to the animals is the fact that we can't placebo animals. And I have an expert in that area here, Tina Coulter, who is an equine therapist and canine therapist of over 20 years, and who came across the patches about 5 years ago in need of help for her horse. And I think for yourself at the same time as well. And so 5 years later, she's still using them in her practice, and for good reason. If they didn't work, she wouldn't be using them anymore. She'd been in the business for a long time before that and has obviously seen some changes to the results that she is getting. She's also on the Canadian Field Advisory Board for LifeWave, and she is just sharing the great information out there on the power of the patches. The power of the patches for yourself, for your animals, for I don't know. I guess that's it. Apparently for plants too. So I hear. So thank you, Tina, for being here today. I really look forward to hearing all that you have to say. And also before that, just so you know, guys, there's going to be some visuals on this one. So if you're listening on just the audio, you might want to tune in to Sasha Says, the YouTube channel Sasha Says on YouTube. SASCHA, or on the Sovereign Collective podcast channel on BitChute, so you can see some of the visuals that Tina is going to be sharing today, because they're also very impactful and they really tell a story. So again, thank you, Tina, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Sasha. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm so grateful that we got to meet just last week or 2 weeks ago when we were on the Corporate Roadshow. It was wonderful to have dinner with you and to really meet the people that are really talking about this technology. And I'm just noticing more and more the messages getting out because, yeah, I've been doing this for 5 years. And you know, you'd think you'd get bored of it, but you get more and more excited because there's people's lives and animals' lives being changed around the globe. And that wasn't what I had said yes to right away. You know,
Right.
I had said yes in a very reluctant way.
Yeah, it was funny. I just wanted to interrupt just for 1 second. It's just funny you talking about just like you're looking at this patch and you're looking at your horse. You're looking at the side. It's like, yeah, no, not sure, but you needed help. So, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, well, I've been a body worker for animals, horses and dogs mainly, for over 20 years. And so it did. Not all gifts are wrapped in pretty little bows. And I love that saying because the gift of my horse is injury. You'd never think
Mm.
that it was a gift, but I do live with if it wasn't supposed to happen, it wouldn't have happened. So as that happens in my life, I go, okay, well, what's our next step? My horse, we found her lying down in a field. We found her lying down in shock. She had pulled back and broke this wire fence, severed down to joint capsule through partially through tendons, ligaments. It was not, we had her stabilized. I called the vet out and we sedated her to make her feel comfortable. And we were there to stabilize her. But I knew as soon as she was stabilized, that was then my turn. It was my job. My job was then to wake up her body's innate repair abilities because that's what I love is our body's ability to regenerate and repair given the right tools. So, like what you said, I was looking for something. I was looking at her nutrition. I was looking at daily body work. I was just waking up her body's natural flow of energy so that it could do the best that it could for her. And that's when I was looking at other modalities out there. And and when it looked like this, I said, "Are you kidding me?"
So
But
she's
I was,
holding up a little teeny patch, just so you
yeah,
know, the size of a loony or a toonie, something like that.
you can totally tell we're in Canada as we talk about loonies and
Yeah.
toonies.
Yeah. By the way, Tina's out near Kamloops. She's in BC, neighboring province to me. So that's where
Yes.
she's operating out of.
Yes, and without LifeWave, I don't know if we would have ever met each other.
Probably
That's
not.
the very interesting thing. So I was looking at this small circular light therapy technology, I was told, and I was thinking, you've got to be kidding me. This is going to help my horse. But I was open enough to try because what my friend who introduced me said, well, there's horse studies. Great. That intrigued me. I also knew I couldn't decide what was I was going to look at if it was brought straight to me on a dinner plate, pretty much. So I was like, okay. So my head was going, are you kidding me? And my heart was going, no, you've got to take a look at this. Because if of my 20 plus years, horses and animals have taught me to really check into intuition. They have shown me over and over again to trust myself. So even though my head was screaming, my ego was going, I was like, no, you've got to pay attention to this. What my friend did not know is that my horse's leg was so swollen that I didn't know if we were going to get through this. Because when there's so much inflammation within my horse and so much swelling, it's like hitting a wall. It's like trying to go in to rebuild a house that's on fire without putting the fire out first. That's what our body does. It just hits that wall. And so when I placed this technology on, my friend didn't realize for 30 days I was fighting with this swelling and I was not winning and it didn't matter what I was doing. And when I put LifeWave, and so it was AccuLife for horses, IceWave for people on her leg, it was a dual patch, a tan and a white. In one day, that swelling was gone. And I was on my hands and knees the next day trying to understand because it was really hard to wrap my head around. So there I'm in my horse's stall staring at her leg inches away, going, what? How? So I loved the idea of it. But when I experienced the results of it is when I started to go, oh. So I was very grateful that I didn't spend time sitting there going, okay, well, let me read this study, let me read that. I was like, I want to see what my experience is. I want to see what's going to happen. And I put it on my horse, and within a day, I was moving forward again. Now, I love the idea and I started putting it on myself, but I didn't really notice anything that I needed. Um, but I also had a lot of clients. So I thought, hey, I'm going to bring this out. I really don't know a lot about it, but it comes with this little brochure. So I'm going to put it in places that it tells me to. I can tell if a horse is reactive when they flinch, when they pin their ears, switch their tail, drop their back. And so I started putting this technology on my clients' horses. And in under a minute, and this is what's hard to wrap our heads around, in under a minute, I was lowering or eliminating a pain response, just like that. And I was like, what is going on? Because I have not seen a technology like that. I have not seen a modality to work that quickly and that impactfully so fast. And so you can't placebo animals. Those are my favorite ones to do demos because be skeptical. Cynical is a difference. Wouldn't you say,
Yeah,
Sasha? Cynical's different. It's like if you're cynical, that's okay. This isn't for you. But if you're skeptical, ask the questions. I was skeptical.
totally.
I asked the questions, but the experiences time and time again were what woke me up to my belief in people aren't going to fake this, animals don't fake this. So I was starting to then all of a sudden be able to do a deeper body work session in one session that used to take me 3 sessions because I could give them relief before I even put my hands on them. So there was those things. So do you want me to bring up the before and after of the
Sure. I just want to just remind people too that just so if you haven't listened to episode 97, just so you know, these patches, and we'll talk a little bit more about how they work a little bit later, but there's nothing going in the body, right? They are non-transdermal. This is not a nicotine patch or a hormone patch. There's nothing going in the body. This is your own light, a wavelength of your light being reflected back to you and signaling the body to do a specific response. So that is the big difference here. And that's why I feel so confident, you know, giving this to or suggesting it for pretty much anyone or anything because of that, because it's the body that's activated to heal. So yeah, bring up so are these are a little bit graphic, yes?
these ones are not graphic. I was actually going to show the thermal imaging, what they used in the clinical
Oh, okay, sure.
study.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I love that you touched on it because we're using light. And if we're looking at this specific one in this specific study, and we're going to be talking about pain, and this is the really cool thing, is we can talk about that with horses, pain and inflammation, Sasha. When we're talking with humans in the wellness spectrum, we actually have to say everything but these two words.
Oh, I didn't know it was different for animals. How refreshing.
Well, yeah, so if you're wondering, but if we talk about pain, and I won't go too in depth with it, but I have seen this in my experience, physical and emotional pain, if a horse has had a bad experience in life, the trauma and stuff, our body doesn't actually know the difference at the cellular level. It will present the same, whether it's a physical or an emotional injury. So with that, if we look at the simplicity of what pain is, it's all it is a blockage in the bioelectrical conductivity of the cells. So it's really that flow of communication between our cells because our cells don't keep secrets within our body. They all communicate. If we're touched here, our whole body knows. The
Right.
communication is there. So all pain is a blockage in that flow of energy. And what AccuLife does with the tan and the white is it opens the flow of energy. It's got a negative and positive. So it's like acupuncture without the needles. So when we place this in specific areas on the body, it opens that flow of energy. Because acupuncture is 200 times faster than the nervous system, that's why we're seeing effective, quick results. And if you know how fast light flows, that's also why we can see this improvement in the body of the horse in seconds, if not minutes, right? So this photo, I do have a picture up with the thermal imaging because every single animal species, human, we are all animals, we all emit light. And that's what this technology works on, is our own infrared light being reflected back into us. As I know you've done podcasts explaining it. So our light is reflecting back in with this crystal lattice work within this. Nothing's going in the body. And the photos here are before application with a tan and a white. A lot of people ask me, are they bigger for animals? No, they're not. It's the same thing. AccuLife for horses, Ice Wave for people. when we place them on the body, this below photo is 10 minutes later. And
That's
the patch
interesting.
is put on top. It's put up here, right? It's on the top line. I do have spots where people use on horses, so I want to bring that up, Sasha, so people can take a
For
photo if
sure.
they're watching this.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering, so is this like a special thermal imaging thermography device for horses? Like how is this being done actually?
This is a thermal imaging camera that was done by LifeWave's clinical studies. They did a placebo
Okay.
group and they did a not placebo, and there was 0% improvement with the placebo group. So what they did was they took a before photo of this horse's name in particular is Hawkeye, and then they placed the technology on the horse, and this is the after photo 10 minutes later. So they put the patches on the top line, but look at how it affected the whole
Entire
body.
body. Yeah.
Now, here's the cool thing, because as I'm sure we know, is that our body's pretty intuitive. It knows what it needs. So when we place this on our body, when we improve the flow of energy, it's marketed for pain and inflammation. But I want you to see up here, Sasha, see where on the shoulder there's a green spot. That's a cool spot. That means that there's actually maybe less circulation there.
Okay.
So we're talking about the flow of energy. Well, look at what happened after that spot heated up. So when you have a flow of energy happening, the body intuitively knows.
Right. So it's regulating. It's not just driving it one way. It's regulating.
It's waking the body up to
Yeah.
do what it needs to do, and the body knows better than what we think it does. We can overthink a lot of things.
Oh,
So,
can we ever? So I just want to say, you quickly said the placebo group had a zero response rate. So this is important that we have to go back to that because we can placebo a person, say, this is going to work, this is going to heal you, and they will believe it and they will get a response. But that horse is not able
you,
to understand you that way. So can you
yeah.
go over the results a little more specifically
Yeah,
about the
well,
study?
absolutely, because the reality is you can't go in and you're not going to tell a horse, they're not going to go, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be out of pain here. This is going to be exciting. I've been really looking for something, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, I feel it right away." Which horses and dogs and animals, we choose to use them on other animals, but it is marketed for horses. You can't placebo. You can't go in and tell the horse that you're going to do this and they're going to feel this. You're going to do it, and their body response is going to show you that it works. You cannot placebo animals. So, I've worked with people where I've put this on them and they're feeling better and they're like, "Oh, it must be a placebo." And I can, with confidence and just one word, I say no. And I just wait because I'm like, I can't buy into your placebo idea. I've seen too many horses lives switch around so quickly in minutes to buy into a placebo. You cannot placebo animals.
Right. And that is really powerful because even I did the ice wave patches on a friend had been in who's had multiple surgeries due to an accident. And then afterward, and it worked. Like when I got it to the right place, this hand that has had so many surgeries on it's been in pain for so long, pain went away. But then later on, it's like, oh, it's all marketing. It's like, really? That was marketing that took the pain away from your hand for over 12 hours after being in pain for years and years and years? Like,
Well,
okay,
and
okay,
then
fine.
and then I would say, well, even if it is, who cares? You're feeling better, right? But it's
That
not.
too.
But even if it is, why does it matter? You're feeling better. So yeah, I know um humans are humans.
And what sort? Yeah, right, exactly. So, what was the percentage of response rate for the patch?
You're testing me here, but
Oh,
these are
oh,
the studies here. We did 142 horses in 2005, 137 out of 138 horses.
137 out of 138.
Yep. With
Wow.
mild to severe back pain. They responded favorably. So I want to take note where it's eliminating, like on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, eliminating, bringing it to a 0, or lowering. That's what we're looking for, because softening, I think a lot of people like to put this on their bodies thinking, well, I still hurt. But if you're softening, just know, showing that photo prior, that stuff is happening within your body. But Yeah, 137 out of 138 horses in one study had a positive effect.
And so so we can see the before and after pictures, but how do you qualify that looking at a horse and its behavior?
The behavior was they showed more energy, they showed more power. So when I'm placing this technology, I'm going to I love visuals, and I'm sorry if you're just listening, but maybe you want to pop over and see the visuals at one point. So let's look at this picture here. Do you see where those placements? This is actually one of my favorite spots because this is where a horse usually is pretty uncomfortable.
Okay.
So you put the tan patch on the left side and you put the white patch on the right. Now, if you think, and I like to convert it to humans too, if you have a lower back soreness, Sasha, do you want to pull your knees up to your chest usually?
Yeah.
Well,
I,
you do to stretch out,
well, it
but
depends.
when it hurts, you can't.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. I
Biomechanically,
see. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I
Okay.
totally get it because if my lower back hurts, I'm going to stretch it out
Yeah. To
like that.
stretch it. I want to stretch it
Yeah,
that way. Yes.
totally. But if you're sore, the last thing a lot of people can do is bring their knee up to their chest because their
Oh, okay.
lower back is sore. Well, that's the same thing for a horse. If they are sore in their lower back, the last thing they're going to do is engage their hind end. Their last thing they're going to do is stretch their back end underneath and push and launch their body forward with it. So when they were doing the studies, they noticed more power in the horses.
Mm.
So we've patched horses on a racetrack and we've improved their speed because
Wow.
they have more range of motion. They have bigger steps with less amount of effort. It's all the physics that I'm not very good at, but learned because I'm around horses. And they're able to take longer strides, less amount of effort, and they get to go further faster. That's
Wow.
what happens. So it's athletic wise as well improves. I've had barrel racers and we're like, hey, because it's non-transdermal, nothing's going in the body. This is not a drug. This is making your horse feel better and actually become better because we're lowering it to a healthy state. We're just waking up the body's natural potential. So when we're able to do that, people are doing better in their athletic ability with their horses, in their competition, as well as helping horses that need support that are injured. So
And this is
every
just with the AccuLife patches?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I mean, I'm choosing to use other of the technology, but at this point, marketing AccuLife is, if you look at the studies, they reference IceWave because they used IceWave patches, and once they marketed it for horses, they changed the name. That's it. The name is different. IceWave and AccuLife. IceWave for people, AccuLife for horses. If I run out of AccuLife, I use IceWave. It doesn't matter, vice versa. They are the same patch, just in a different envelope with a different name.
Amazing. Okay. That is profound, like the even performance. And what about just I would think if they're more comfortable, they would be more approachable and calmer.
Um, yes, yes, they are actually. I had one horse the other day that I was working on, and all he wanted to do was bite me. And, if you can, you have to share with your horses what's appropriate for communication and what might not be okay for communication. But he was just gnashing at me, and gnashing mean turning and just baring his teeth and biting at me like I hurt. Never once trying to bite me, just sort of his communication. Kind of like if your husband Sasha was like, you're like, ah, right? It's just that. If he pinches the back of your arm or something, I don't know, right? And as soon as I was finished the session, he started licking my hand.
Wow.
So bad attitudes, bad personalities are just a communication. They don't have words like we do. Now, there's some communication that is not tolerable by any means for safety reasons, but for the most part, I'm looking at, as soon as I walk in with a horse, I'm looking at every ear twitch, every eye, every tail switch. I'm looking at everything because that is their communication. And when I first started years ago, I was not listening. And they have taught me how to listen,
Mm.
and hence why I'm still here 20 years later. Because
Right.
so that's really important as well. Lots of indications.
Right. And so now let's go back to your horse. So your horse, it was a pretty brutal injury, that horse. Like, what do you think would have happened? I mean, it's just a hypothesis. What do you think would have happened if you didn't have that? And what was the actual result as well with
Well,
the images?
yeah, well, I was told um, that I would, it may be pushing it to try and keep her on the planet.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and I said, watch me, because I made a decision that if she was willing to move forward, I was willing to move forward. And that's how I gauged it. And she was willing to move forward. So I was looking for something. And so when that happened and we started to see the swelling go down, because I didn't know, I was at a loss. Like, if we couldn't get that swelling down, we can't get into that repair. We just can't. It's like I said, bringing in a construction crew before you bring the fire crew in, right? And so when I placed those on, we started to move forward. I saw a potential. I'm a business owner. I love what I do. I believe I wouldn't be here without the referrals and the network that people have created for me. My service was good enough that somebody shared it with somebody else, right? And so when you're dealing with animals, you know how particular animal owners are. They're not going to let just anybody touch their animals, but they're going to trust their friend. That's just like everything in life. My friend brought this to me. I trusted her enough to try it. If I didn't know the person, I don't know if I would have said yes. That's just the reality of it. So as I was placing this on her, it didn't happen overnight. The swelling started to show, but we still had this repair. So I consistently, I also chose to use some of the other patches on. That was my own personal choice. I have written a white paper on the benefits of a specific peptide that I feel is very beneficial. I worked really close with a community of people that knew how to use this. So I didn't do it alone. I built my equine business alone. I built my network from zero. I didn't have a network. I went around putting brochures in a mailbox
Wow.
and then wherever I saw a horse, because I'm like, I love the internet now. It's much easier. But I saw a potential to empower people and their own horses. I felt empowered to be able to offer this to my horse, and I thought, "Oh my gosh, I want to add this to my practice so that I can see." I work with animals, and when I get called out for, say, somebody's like wants me yesterday, and all of a sudden I can't book them in for 2 or 3 weeks because I'm not in their area. I hate it, but it's just the reality of it. And so to be able to say, "Hey, until I get there, this is a value added. This is something that you can do to bring comfort to your animals." And then by the time I get there, the session is so great because we've eliminated that one key thing of soreness. I'm not fighting through uncomfortable with them anymore. So I just saw it as a very small piece and just wanted to empower my owners to feel at peace with being able to help their animals. 8 months later, what I was told was she's never going to be rideable again. I was told you'll be lucky if she walks around with a minimal limp. 8 months later, I was looking at 1 to 2 years to find out if this was going to be the case. And I thought, oh, well, she's a mare and she's beautiful and she's lovely. So maybe I could have a baby because that's what horse people do, right? But at the same time, 8 months later, she's 100% sound and ready to be ridden again. She does not have a limp. She has no excess scar tissue. There is no impediment in the joint. It is fully functional. And I see her running around all the time, not missing a step. So what is that worth to me? That's worth a lot. But that's 8 months, which is a glimpse. So when I hear people after 7 days say, I'm not noticing anything. And it's like, well, how long has this been going on? They're like, well, a few years. And I'm like, okay, because it's not a band-aid. We're not pulling out a battery, turning off a signal and the fire's still going, and turning off the smoke detector signal and the fire's still going. We are putting it out, then we're rebuilding. And
Right.
rebuilding doesn't take 7 days.
No.
I just want to be because people miss the magic. That's what I've seen. People miss the magic of regeneration. And I was so grateful that I consistently used it and keep using it, maybe not as much as when I was really focusing on the injury, but I get my horse back. We've gone for rides, we go through the mountains, we do all of that. Um, she's moving with ease, and I wasn't supposed to have that.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's me.
Yeah.
And I think that story, this is just one that I just want to quickly relate that we heard at the event with one woman who 11 years ago when she had a double knee replacement, she thought that was the end of her pain, but it really was the beginning of the worst. And 9 months ago, she started a couple of the patches. And for 4 months, she felt nothing at all, no change, nothing. But
Hmm.
2 weeks later, her brain totally cleared up and she could think again. And then, and it had gotten so bad she couldn't stand up straight. She had to drink using her palms of her hand. She couldn't grab or cut. She couldn't, like, it was really bad. And after that, 2 weeks past the 4 months, where she's like, okay, well, I'm supposed to give it at least a couple more months, everything started to change. And now she's standing there full of energy, no pain. She says, I've got my life back. But how many people would have given up before that 4 month mark? Because there are people that 1 day, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, amazing changes happen, but that's not guaranteed for anybody.
No. And our body is way more intuitive, like I was saying earlier, as well as animals' bodies are intuitive. It goes to the point of most needed
Yeah.
before it goes to maybe say, and I've had people where they're like, yeah, my shoulder still hurts, but they're not noticing that they're not hitting their snooze button anymore, that that they're not crashing at 4:30, because it takes energy to improve our body. It takes energy to create that repair within it. So as we're bringing those points, like for me, I didn't notice anything. But when I looked back, I went, wait a second. I stopped hitting my snooze button. I'm getting up earlier. I'm going to bed later. I rearranged my closet and then went down into the basement and rearranged my basement, all within the first week of using this technology. And I didn't notice anything because you just keep doing. And then you're like, wait a second. If I pause to think about that, and that is why this channel of direct sales this would get lost on the shelf. This
Totally.
absolutely would not, while we're having these conversations, while we're sharing this, when I'm helping somebody with their animal or their self, because remember, I started for animals, but when you start to demo and you show horses being uncomfortable and then not at all, people tend to ask, does this work for people? So I actually have expanded by helping horse and rider, and you don't even have to have an animal for me to help you, but helping so many different people and animals because people are struggling. And I had no idea because they'd only call me out for their animals. We never had conversations about them until LifeWave showed up. And then they started sharing with me all of the struggles. And I realized all they did was put a smile on their face to get through the day. And I had a solution for their animals and them.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so those are the things that I started to see unravel. And for me, I don't think I can work on this amount of horses like I do now prior to LifeWave. I can work on 14, 15 horses in a day and do it again the next day.
That's
I may
amazing.
be tired, but my body doesn't hurt.
Wow.
It's crazy.
And coming back to that direct selling thing, because people, this is a product of direct selling, network marketing. A lot of people have preconceived ideas about that. And it wasn't the
Mm,
intention of the inventor to start it that way. And I had preconceived ideas. I heard about it 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago. I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know a thing. I don't tell me about it. And then I finally looked into it and now I can't not. And I've heard too many things. I've seen too many things. I've met too many people that have literally had their lives changed. And I can't not talk about it. So don't let that judge the ethics. And we're going to talk about the ethics shortly about the company as well, but judge the ethics and the quality because millions of people are using this and they won what was that? You don't win these awards if it doesn't work. What was the one? It was the
Stem Cell Innovation of the Year by Biotech. I have a picture there by Biotech Awards.
right, right. So you
Mm,
don't go and win these things, and have more and more people talking about it if it doesn't work. It's not
yeah.
just marketing and it's not a placebo. We know that. So didn't you have your own personal story though? Like didn't you flip a quad or something? Didn't you say something about that? in the
Yeah,
talk?
did I like there's so many stories. I do want to yeah, I actually the day before my horse was injured, I flipped my quad and I think I got knocked out because it just I was very spaced. Then I got up and I grabbed my glasses because I went somewhere and then and then the day of her injury she was sedated, but I was sort of leaning over her and she reared up, and if you've ever been uppercut with the over 1,000 pound animal, I just want to
No.
say I stayed on my feet, and I think that was pretty impressive. But I was pretty rattled, and I wasn't aware of it because I was so focused on her that I could wrap her leg in the morning, but in the afternoon, I couldn't figure out how to do it. And I was very emotional, and I was very tired, and I was all of these things that when you rattle your brain, it tends to happen. And what I didn't know, like my husband works out of town for 2 weeks and is home for 2 weeks, and we have acreage and we have two teenage boys and we have livestock, okay, I've got two horses, livestock, that's enough. You still have to get hay for them. So I was still having to do that, but also resting because I wasn't fully functioning. And that's a really hard place to be. And I'm so grateful for my chiropractor because I would go and he refers horses to me and I refer people to him. And so I had his cell phone and I just said, I can't make it through the weekend. Can you please, I'll be at your house in 10 minutes with a truckload of hay. And he would put me back into alignment so my body could be as efficient as it could. But as soon as I put this LifeWave on, a month after that injury, yeah, my horse and I injured ourselves at the same time. It should have been like what I've seen many people out there, years of struggling with symptoms, and 5 months later, I was back to me.
Right.
So what is that worth to pay that forward? I did want to share with you that direct sales channel because 15 years ago, or maybe it's 17 years ago now, I was introduced to this industry. And my first comment was, is this one of these pyramid things?
Everybody says that. Yeah.
Everybody says that. And so what I've learned is I'm very grateful I went and I educated myself on it because when somebody asks, is this one of these pyramid things? One of two things, and that's it. That's all that I know is they've experienced this industry and they've had a bad experience because they haven't had great leadership. Or number two, they heard that same statement and they have no research behind it. Well, I was the no research behind it. I had
Yeah.
no experience, I had nothing, and my friend gave me this beautiful DVD at the time, so I'm totally aging myself, and said, watch this. And I spent that evening and I watched it. It was Tim Sale's Brilliant Compensation. It's still out there. It's on YouTube now. You don't even need a DVD. But I will tell you, it got me excited about the industry. It got me excited about this model of marketing because if it's done right, and it is here, if it's done fair, if it's done all of that, anybody can win. And it doesn't matter when you start because for me, I have my equine business. I love it. I'm still doing it. Because of that, I am being referred by people. People are trusting somebody else to trust me with their animals. I have a referral business. Nobody's going to look me up in the phone book. If somebody's looking at my website, it's because somebody told them about me already. That's the way it is. And so for me to grow my business over 20 years is because somebody told somebody about me and it's growing and that ripple effect. And guess what? I can say thank you and maybe a time or so I can say, hey, let me discount. You've referred 5 horses to me. I really appreciate it. That's all we do here. We're referring something that works and has changed and impacted people's lives. And the
Right.
company says thank you. So when I'm looking at income with it, because I love to be very open about everything, when I'm getting paid by LifeWave by referring it forward, first of all, it's the first time as an entrepreneur, that I actually now have um, a pension, a pension plan, an exit plan. I love what I do and I'll probably do it forever, but to not have to hustle to get the next horse, that's a really nice place that I come into.
Mhm.
That's what I love about it. Because as an entrepreneur, we don't really have a plan B, right? And if I'm offering value to somebody like my friend did for me, here she is, I wouldn't have my horse today if
Oh,
it wasn't my friend who shared this with me.
Right.
So it's an amazing thing that David offered it with the channel of direct sales because it is the most powerful model of marketing, because things move on the speed of trust, because we trust our friends. And if I'm making money from it, it means that I'm helping more people. That's the measuring stick I see.
Well, and anybody's like you sell a product yourself, somebody's making some money somehow. The store's going to make money, but then there's going to be all these other people in between, the manufacturer, the distributor, the store, whatever, all these things. But
Yeah.
it's all about it's you have to make money. There's a value exchange. So the money's going to go one layer over the other. But I think you're right. A lot of people have a lot of bad experiences with these pushy people that like everybody's a prospect and everybody's that's why I just tell people, just so you know, this is how it is. But like, just look in, just listen to this. Like, I don't even care. I just want you to try it
Yeah.
because the potential results are insane. And I'm quite new to it. I just started in May. May is when I first got, but I have got it for my husband before I even started trying it. So, and then wasn't really serious until more into June or July.
Yeah.
So but I can't not talk about it.
Well, we just get to offer the exceptional customer service. So if somebody's going to order something, I'm there to inform them. I'm there to educate them. I'm there to help them. So anytime that somebody orders from me, then I'm accessible because that's how this works. It's like it's a community based. We have calls, we have product information. We're just the information education arm. And
Right.
we don't have to recreate it. I don't have to be David. Like if you want to know about the technology and I'm sharing my experiences with my horse, but I send videos of David, the owner, founder, inventor. I am never going to be him, but all we have to be is the messenger, right? Not the message. So I do love that. I love this marketing model because I've educated myself on it. So I have no problem when somebody says, is this? I'm like, absolutely. What do you know about it? And when I ask that question, what do you know about it? They've either had a bad experience and we need to hear them, or they know nothing. They just think they know something about it and they've done a preconceived. So I just say, please educate. It's worth your time because getting a second job or another job, and I'm sharing this with horses, is because there's just such a level of people being stuck. So if there's a way that we can support them on health as well as finances, then darn right, I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to help them because Sasha, you know people I don't know.
Yeah.
And so you'll if we link arms and we're impacting people, we get to help more people by linking arms together. That's what we want to do to spread the message because we've seen too many good things. So I will get off the soapbox
Yeah. So
and
yeah. But I just want to say
um,
also why I am talking about this because it ticks so many of the boxes that I've been working towards and educating myself on up until this time. We're talking peptides, we're talking non-invasive, we're talking activate the own body's own capacity to heal, waking up certain cells that can kind of become, not kind of, that can become anything. We're talking about phototherapy and light therapy. We're talking about having the right nutrition in the body so that we can activate our own healing. These are all the things that I teach about and talk about on the podcast or have people on or teach in the classes that I teach as well. Like for me, it ticks all the boxes and then there's ethics in that as well. But before we get into that a little bit more, I want to talk to more like I want to learn more about like what other stories do you have? So you have your amazing horse story, you have your story. What about other dogs? Like people, what about people's pets? What about, you
What
know,
I'll do actually is I'm going to bring up Faith's injury so that you have a before and after photo of it and I'll explain it. So I know, Sasha, you're fine with pictures, hey?
yeah. Oh, so is it
Okay.
going to be graphic? If it's
It's going to
graphic?
be it's graphic.
Okay, so just everybody else know? Yeah, I want to see.
Okay. It's going to be graphic a lot and I didn't realize I just would show people and they're like, "Are you kidding me?" And I'm like, "I'm so sorry." So so this was where we found her. She
Wow.
was lying down in the field. The wire broke, and I'm very grateful the wire broke. She would not have stopped fighting to remove her leg. So you can see,
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's
I'm very, it went down into the hoof wall there, which was great because that stopped it from doing this on both sides. Like, I don't know where she would have been. So having that, you're usually looking at bulky scar tissue. You're usually looking at your hair growing in white. Now, with horses, and if you're a horse person, you know that. And it's a thing called proud flesh that a lot of times you have to like carve away. And I didn't have to do any of that. So if you can see the curve structure within it. There's no bulkiness. It is still the same. And over to the side where it was almost all the way through, you can see in an area where the hair grew back and it didn't grow back white. This is all not what you get to see with an injury like this with horses.
Wow.
Yeah. So that one's a really cool one. We have another horse with an eye injury. Now, this one wasn't, what I want to let you know about this is, so you're looking at September 27th, then you're looking at October 2nd. Like that's 6 days. 6 days in between
Wow.
cutting the eyeball. Now, this horse is
Cutting
29.
the eyeball. That's what happened?
Yeah, the eyeball sliced.
Oh,
Now, I don't have the other picture, but we have another one where it actually shows the eyeball prolapsed. It actually came out of the cut. And
wow.
usually, because this is done with one of the veterinarians on my team, she was taking these pictures. Usually, when the eye comes out of itself, you're removing the eye. And this horse is 29 years old.
Oh, wow.
So when you're looking at 29 years of age, you're not looking at the body's cells being as active as you'd like. But because we chose to use the light therapy patches on, 6 days later, this eye is, even though, it shows a prolapse, it's repairing like she's never seen before. And the horse doesn't lose its eye.
6 days.
And nothing's going into the body. We're just using light.
So you have veterinarians and other practitioners with animals that are using this technology as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
okay.
I think that says a lot to what we have. I was just like I was doing I was traveling across Alberta and BC with corporate. We had a medical doctor speaking on stage of 30 years. And I don't take it lightly when a medical doctor of 30 years says, of my 30 years in practice, I have never seen more benefits in repair in a body than with this technology.
Right.
So please pay attention.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
we have before and afters. This horse here, as we're not here to treat, cure, diagnose, or make any claims whatsoever, as I wanted to say.
Right.
This horse, his coat was curly, not shedding out very well. It usually happens when horses get a little bit older. They started using the technology, and the owner came back and said, "Oh my goodness, they've shedded out this summer like they used to."
And so why is that significant? It's just that's just a mark of aging.
Well, yeah, like a lot of times you only see this diagnosis happen when they're older.
Okay.
It's one of those things. Oh, it's
Right.
about time
Okay.
but we're looking at that. Harley, the horse down below, same thing, sweating in different areas. The hair not shedding out like it was, just feeling more low in energy. And within putting it on, I think 20 minutes, she started running up in the field. And my client, Jane, said, "I thought there was something chasing her. I've never seen her run like that for months." But it wasn't. We just put the patches on and she just had this boost, like we were talking about the study earlier, of that power and energy.
Yes.
And that's what happened for Harley. And this guy up here, this is my horse, Cowboy. So he didn't want to not be a case study at all. So a lot of times when we put things in the horses to lower swelling or anything in the body, it really messes up their stomach. And I'm sure that that's for people too. And to put things down a horse's throat is a fight in itself. So what had
Mhm.
happened was he cut his head open. It was a weekend. I called the vet. He couldn't come out, so I said, "Great, I get to do all the things I want to do." And so we just cleaned it up.
Where was the cut? Where?
You can see it right up here. It was actually all the way to his skull. So it was sliced.
Wow.
So I cleaned it out, and then as you could see, the swelling occurred because the body's natural response. And then I put the patches on, and you can also see that he was quite swollen above the eye. And so after that, not putting anything in his body, just using the LifeWave light therapy patches, I was able to lower all that swelling.
Wow. And then I would assume that uh, due to the benefits of GHKCU in horses, would you have used something like that for the patch that might have something to do with that? I don't know how, what am I supposed to say? What am I allowed to say? I don't know.
I did
The
choose
healing of the wound.
personally. I chose to use X39. Yes, because I did go and do a little bit of a deep dive on a specific peptide and I saw the benefits. And so I chose to put X39 on my horse.
Right. Because we know for wound healing, that is an
Yeah.
amazing patch. Okay.
And then this was my friend's horse Spartacus, and he got his foot caught in a twine. And so when we found him, or when she found him, there was not a lot of circulation left. So we weren't sure that he would potentially lose his hoof capsule. Like it was bad. And he's a beautiful, large,
Wow.
yeah, beautiful Frisian. Well, we really focused on it. If you look at his feathery feet,
Hmm.
what happened? This is what's really cool because you just don't know, right? It's like, give it a go. I can't tell you how long it's going to take. I can't tell you, when somebody asks, where do I put it? Just get it on the body. The body knows. The body's going to communicate. But for this, we did. We gave the frequency around the injury. We put the patches down there, but we can also put them anywhere on the body, and they're going to go to the priority. The feathers is what they're called on his forefeet. The feathers on the injured leg grew back so much thicker than the other three legs that were not injured. So you can
Wow.
imagine we weren't expecting that, but no white scarring. That's huge. And it grew back thicker. So those are the things that we were paying attention to.
Hmm.
Another one, this little filly, so she was a yearling. She had to get 25% of her coffin bone removed. So they actually had to remove the bone down there. Oh, look at me moving that. So that being said, there's 4 week increments, and what we have been told by the vets, I don't, is that they've never seen cleaner X-rays, and the rate in which the bone regenerated was so much quicker than they've ever experienced.
Amazing.
Yeah. So those are, and we have so many more, but that's what I have to show
And
today.
so you also work with dogs. I
Mhm.
know it's not tested on dogs, but I think we can make some
We
little,
choose, yeah, that's my key thing. We're choosing to put them on. People are choosing to, use them. They'll take theirs off for the day, and then at night they'll put their remainder on their own animal, or they'll use new ones on them. And we're just noticing a lot of many things. We can put the link into our testimonial page that we have on Facebook, Affordable Light Therapy for You, and you can just put in the search bar dog, and you'll see so many um, dog situations, whether it's they're walking with a limp and then they're not anymore, right? And this is something that was ongoing, or, they're, um, there's just so many stories. With my dog, I had to have surgery done on her because she completely detached her ligament from her leg. And so we had the surgery, but every single time I put on X39, she was walking around with a spring in her step. She just was happier. She was feeling better. There was a brightness in her eyes. And those are the things I look for. She was still limping because she's recovering from surgery,
of course.
but she was happier. And
Yeah.
so if she's happier, I know she's feeling better because there's so many, and everything has its place. Please know that. But there's the side effects. I'm happy I was able to put on my horse, Cowboy, the patches to lower his swelling instead of when Faith was injured. And I had to give her all of the things to keep her alive and to feel better. If I was hit by a bus, put me out, please. And then when it's time to repair, then I'll step in. So when we found her lying down in the field, she was getting all the things, antibiotics, she was getting, you know, pain, anti-inflammatories. But what I also had to give her was another thing so that she wouldn't get holes in her stomach.
Oh, because of the other things that you were administering.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, right. So there's all
right.
going to be there's the effects you want, and we call these things side effects, but they're not really side effects. They're just the ones we don't focus on. There are other effects of the drugs that we also need to pay attention to. So,
And so that was over $1,000 to have that one so that I didn't have a secondary issue dealing with her. So when I put that into perspective, these are dollars a day for
right.
what we can do, for the potential of what we can do for the body.
Right. And I think a lot of people might not be willing to do this or use them for themselves for whatever reason, but a lot of people spend more money on their pets than they will on themselves. But
Yeah,
just know we can all benefit. That this is, I think, if you know you can do better and you have the means to do so, I think we have in this crazy world, it's our duty to be as strong and fit and well as possible these days because these years coming, I think, are going to need some strength.
I would say so.
Yeah, I think so. So, okay, so that's some really amazing information. Now, I just like for me, I also what's really important to me is again just coming back to whether you use it as a customer, whether you decide to do this as a business, it doesn't matter. You don't want to support a company that's just full of shysters and that's just trying to make money off of you and off of people. You want to know that they actually care about you, care about the response, are responsible and ethical. So there's a great story about what happened here in Canada a few years ago. So can you share that, please, Tina?
Yeah, absolutely. I was introduced to this company 5 years ago, and I saw, a potential of paying it forward, and I also knew how this worked, and so I stepped in because there was value to be added to people's lives. And as we were moving into that, just know that this company's been around for over 20 years, and that was important to me as well. It was important to me to see that it was a solid company with a solid foundation. Um, what I didn't realize is I was stepping into a company that had 20 years and then was going into massive momentum and growth, which is very exciting. But that also gets eyes looking at you. And Health Canada looked at these and said, well, we don't understand. So I'm sorry, we're going to have to pull all this technology. And we had a beautiful product line and we were getting excited and we were, moving forward. And they pulled all but two patches off of the market just until LifeWave gave them more information. So we all of a sudden went to massive momentum, and you know how humans are, change is scary, even though it happens all the time. It freezes people, right? And so when that is the case, everything was just like, what is going on? So we had IceWave and Alavita. So guess what? Canadians really got to know IceWave and Alavita, which IceWave is AccuLife, AccuLife is IceWave. So that was fantastic. In my mind, I thought, you know what? You can build $1 million business on these two patches. They're phenomenal. So we then started to do online with corporate. That's really how I became part of the field advisory board. I made a decision that I was going to say yes to everything that showed up for me. And that's how it started, doing online presentations with corporate about what we have in Canada, then also being invited to the field advisory board to relaunch Canada so that we can do it right because people in Canada need somebody in Canada to help out. So there was five of us chosen. But here's what David did. First of all, they got a contracting company, which is not cheap, to work with Health Canada that knows how to work with Health Canada, not the company trying to work with Health Canada that doesn't know Health Canada. So they hired an outside consulting team. They started giving, and the cool thing was, is this is a company set in science and evidence. So all they were doing was giving them all the information in the clinical studies, double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical studies, gold standard. giving that to them. It just takes time for Health Canada to go through it and everything. But corporate went to David Schmidt, who's the owner and mentor, and said, "Hey, what if?" And I just want to say, I'll share what they said to him, but I also want to let you know it only took him 10 seconds to say yes. 10 seconds. So they said, what can we do for the Canadian um, leaders in the field? Who can we pay them their best month in October, their best week in October until we get the patches back to them, whether they make it or not? Can we just keep paying them what their best month was? And David goes, yeah, let's do that. So I was striving to try and build above what my best month was in that month. But because of the uncertainty and just the change that happened, I never did, but I definitely worked. Some people decided to just step back and just get the free money and re-engage when all the patches came back. Some people kept going, but I also earned a trip to Aruba with the effort that we put in. That was not and got to celebrate David's 60th birthday with him. So
Mhm.
there was a lot of things that LifeWave did. If you're looking for a company based in integrity, because I'll tell you, I don't think, and I don't have a lot of experience or anything with that, but it took them 10 months to get the patches back to us. That's pretty quick dealing with Health Canada, I believe. But for 10 months, we didn't have to worry about our income. It never stopped.
People got paid. That's the thing. Like they got paid. And like you said, a lot of people didn't do much. They just got paid until it got back. So that I think that speaks volumes for
Yeah.
the company.
Hmm.
Volumes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I just want to see if there's any really key dying question. If I wonder if I think we touched on all. Have you ever seen them not work?
Yes.
Okay.
On animals, no, because I will tell you, we give our animals good nutrition. Their supplements, like even my horses, supplements, so they always have water. There's always electrolytes. So the reason I say that is when I'm watching somebody not, and it's people, and they're not working, either they didn't give them enough time and they're not noticing the small things, or we've got to look at hydration and mineralization.
Huge.
Well, mineralized body will always try and heal itself, and that's the pathway. It's like trying to drive your car without putting fuel in.
Yeah.
It's like trying to go along the pathways of light without hydrating and mineralizing your body.
This is,
That's
I got my mineral rich water right here. There you
right.
go. Yeah. That's right.
So,
So yeah, that's the thing. Even it's eliciting a response. It's not making it for you. It's your body making it, but you need the raw materials and the means to do so. So if you're malnourished, low on amino acids, low on minerals, have mineral imbalances, not hydrated, right, then you are definitely going to slow down the potential results.
yes.
And again, the time takes, be patient. This doesn't always happen very, very quickly. Some people respond very, very quickly. Some people take a lot longer, but then when it happens, it happens. And there is a divine timing and divine order to how this will work, and your body gets to decide.
Yeah. I do like the for every decade that you're alive, give it at least a month. And that's why that woman who her name's Val, who said 4.5 months, that's when it started because she was committed to 6 months because she had decided every decade that she was alive. And it was 4.5 months is
Right.
when oh my gosh. And she's not going to stop at 6 months, I can
No.
tell you that
Well,
much.
and that's the thing. Now it's like, okay, now let's just see what's possible. Because that's the thing. There's moving away from the pain or the discomfort or the immobility or the skin stuff or the what your label is. And then there's moving towards what's possible once she's got her energy and her pain-free body and her capacity to stand up straight and ride her Harley again. Now it's possible maintaining that because it's cumulative. Keeps
Right.
on, keeps on going, keeps on
Yeah.
going. So we don't even know what's possible. And in this world where you got every insult thrown at us from every single angle,
Mhm.
this is just such an easy tool to add in. I've got I've got one right here today. I got the glutathione one right there. I've got a couple on
Okay.
right now. You don't have to wear as many as I wear all the time, but pick one or two or two.
Yeah, I would say always foundation. If we're talking humans, always foundation X39. Yep.
Foundation
Always, always.
exercise. That's right. So,
Always.
oh, and I want
Yeah.
to say one more thing. So this is what the sleeve looks like. X39, folks. I'm showing this up on the camera right now. So, interesting story. I know two people now who one through eBay, one through Walmart. They're like, oh, I can get them way cheaper. I'm going to order off of those. I cannot believe the lengths to which the counterfeiters go to do this. So I know somebody got off
Mhm.
eBay, looks just like this, gets them, but she got the ice wave patches and she's used them before. She knew what she should be opening and seeing. She opens them up, they're all white. There's no tan patch. There's only white patches. Yeah, they were cheaper, but they were not the same patch. They actually had the envelope looks exactly the same, but there was a spelling mistake on it.
Oh.
And the peel off part on the backing wasn't labeled. It was just white. So
Mm,
every label, so they look all the same from the front, folks, but the label on the back tells you what it is. Once you unpeel that, you don't know what patch you have. So they were unlabeled. And then I know somebody else who just bought them from Walmart for super crazy cheap. Like, let me tell you a story. Sure enough, they're not labeled on the back either.
yeah,
So don't try to get a good deal because they're a good deal for a reason. And that's just throwing money down the toilet because they're nothing. So
yeah.
just be aware of that too. There are counterfeit patches out there that look just like this.
Yes, and the legal team with LifeWave, because it is illegal the way that they're marketing it out there and selling on Amazon and Walmart. So as they find them, there's lawsuits up against the people who are selling on those. So it is not illegal, it is fraudulent and it is counterfeit. So
Totally.
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, what is it? If you look at X39, it's $3.33 a day.
A day. Right.
Yeah,
US.
yeah.
Right? US. So US pricing, folks. So, okay, so if you want to know more about this, if you're following me, come talk to me. There's going to be a link in the show notes below. If you're following Tina and friends of Tina, go find Tina. So, Tina, let's find out where can people find you, whether it be for your services or for this or whatever. Where can everybody find you?
Actually, I have a website, tinacoulter.com. It's very, very simple, and it's Colter. So tinacoulter.com. I actually have a demo of when I'm patching a horse so that if you're like, I don't know what to do, there's a demo. It's a short 5 minute or less demo where I show you how to patch a horse with this LifeWave technology. There's testimonials on that page as well, Sasha. So you can go
Awesome.
and you can see the testimonials. People are speaking about their horses. You know, it's something to be said when we're bringing ligament injuries from 12 months down to 3 months. You might want to know about that.
12 months to 7.
So, hmm
It's amazing.
yeah. So, and we're just getting started. That's what's so exciting. And, I talk about it and I got excited to offer this to my clients that I see all the time. What I didn't know I said yes to was being able to impact people in countries I've never been to. So I've been on FaceTime helping patch horses in Australia, in Ireland, and I've been to Ireland and it's beautiful and I want to go back, but not having to be there and creating something for somebody and somewhere in Spain, I think I've FaceTime to help with the horses. And I may not know those people, but because I shared it with somebody within my circle of people, they knew somebody there. And so there's this ripple effect that I am so passionate about. So I really appreciate that you invited me on here today to just share our stories. And if it's for you, fantastic, get more information. If you're skeptical like me, great. You're going to ask some great questions. And just dive in.
Yes, absolutely. And go find the David Schmidt interviews. I share those with people all the time. I am looking to create my own interview with him one day so I can ask my own questions as well. Because when you hear that man speak, he's humble, he's ethical, he's wanted to be an inventor since he was a young boy, and it doesn't stop here at the patches. He's already got the water system in the States, which isn't in Canada yet. but he is moving on. He is planning for the future and for future generations. And I really hope he's divinely protected, because what he is doing is really making people's lives better in a really significant way. And he has big plans and big vision. And so it's just, he would be somebody that I really want to talk to one day. So yeah, Tina, well, I think we did it all. That's awesome. So folks, please share this. Please listen, subscribe, find it on YouTube at Sasha Says, BitChute, like I said, Sovereign Collective. I'm on Podbean, iTunes, Spotify. My Instagram is Sasha Says, Sasha K Says, actually. And yeah, just share this with folks, because there's so much unnecessary pain, inflammation, suffering, non-healing, all these things that are happening, or we do things and we're trying to seek a better outcome, and often they get worse, or there's side effects like Tina was talking about, right? There's other results that you get from going the traditional Western routes that, has their place, but if we can do without, why not? So thank you so much, Tina. Really appreciate your time today. Ciao, everyone.